This ain't just a channel, this is BBTV.
This isn't about last night or what happened after dark. This is about the middle of the day moments where something small turns nuclear before you even finish your coffee.
One sentence, one reaction, one emotional spark, and suddenly the whole situation is on fire. Welcome to Freak Out Friday on Ask a Bee, because this one didn't just escalate, it got out of hand real fast.
Boss be rising, BBTV's igniting, turn the volume up, yeah, the whole world's invited. From the gravel road to the neon dream, she built an empire out of broken wings. Boss be rising, sky ain't even the ceiling when she hits go live, everybody feels it.
Oh my goodness, we are coming in hot today and I love it. All right, y'all, welcome back to Ask a Bee. It is Freak Out Friday, which means we are not tiptoeing, we are not whispering, and we are definitely, absolutely not pretending that some of these situations are mild misunderstandings, naked cousins, emotional spirals, and that moment when you look at someone you thought you knew and go, wait, who are you and why are you doing that? We've got postpartum rage storms, boundary battles, Roku nudism, and people weaponizing the word insecurity like it's an Uno reverse card. And I need everybody to buckle up because we are going to laugh. We are going to side-eye, and we are going to call a freaking thing a freaking thing, okay? Now, here's the deal with Freak Out Friday. This is not be polite at all costs day. This is not let's gently word this for the sake of comfort day. Not at all. No. This is the day that we talk about the reactions, the explosions, the moments where you snap and then sit there afterward thinking, did I just ruin everything? You probably did, because sometimes the freak out is the problem, and you know that, right? And sometimes the freak out is the symptom as well. And if you've ever been pushed to the edge, walked on eggshells, or heard something so off the wall you had to blink twice just to process it, you already know the energy we're bringing today. Yes, we're talking about the kind of shifts that make your stomach drop. The husband who flips personalities after a baby is born, and the partner who starts slamming stuff and calling it stress. The situationship where you're 2 months in feeling hopeful and suddenly you're standing there going, did he just walk out naked in front of his cousin to fix a remote? And then you're the crazy one for reacting. Oh no, not today. We are unpacking it all. And before anyone clutches their pearls, imaginary or real, let me say this clearly. Having boundaries does not make you insecure. Being uncomfortable does not make you jealous. And calling something weird does not automatically mean you're accusing someone of a felony. Hi, James. How you doing? Good to have you. But, and this is important, delivery matters. How you say it matters. Whether you torch the house on the way out really matters. Because sometimes you're right about the boundary and wrong about the execution. And sometimes you're so fed up that the execution is the only thing left. So, today we're going to ride that line. We're going to ask, when is someone spiraling and genuinely needing some help? And when are they just expecting you to absorb the fallout? When does this is just how we are become this is not how I'm living? And at what point does compatibility simply mean you do you, but I'm out? If you're new here, welcome to the live. We keep it honest, we keep it spicy, and yes, sometimes we invent new words like freaking, or use old ones like freaking. It was supposed to be a different word and I chose not to use it. Forgive me. Because YouTube likes to play games and so do we. If you've been here a while, you already know the vibe. Drop your honey or your stinger in the chat. Get your coffee, get your tea, and let's get into this because these stories, they didn't come here to play. All right, let me load up this first one for us. Now then. And here we go. Slide over, B. All right. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband I'm leaving him when he was in the middle of a meltdown? My husband and I have been together for 8 years now. I have 2 sons from my previous marriage, 13 and 9. Blended family. Very nice. And I just gave birth to me and my husband's daughter 3 months ago. Prior to me giving birth and even a few weeks following, our home life was great. We often had friends telling us they wish they could find someone that made them as happy as him and I made each other. There are hardly ever any disagreements or communication, or our communication was solid. He was fantastic with my boys, attending every parent-teacher conference, doctor's appointment, school event, etc., and took them out often to play baseball and basketball. Very cool. I'm glad to hear that. This all changed after maybe 2 to 3 weeks after I gave birth. Okay. So he turned angry, depressed, and impatient. Uh-oh. Me and the kids started having to constantly walk on eggshells or he became lazy, such as stop cleaning up after himself or helping around the house, yet still used sentences to my kids, such as, you guys need to pick up after yourself. Me and your mother shouldn't have to follow you around and clean up your messes, when he never cleaned it all. I couldn't even get him to wash his own dinner plate without him having a meltdown, basically. Every day he was just angry. If one thing went wrong, like him not being able to find something he set down somewhere, which became an everyday event, he was freaking out, saying things like, yep, awesome, so glad life wants to fork me over, or yes, pardon me, let me stop right there for the newcomers. Yes, I changed the words. Get over it. I'm a grandmother. That's the way it works here. Okay. Or why the fork does this always happen to me? Can't I just have a good forking day for once? I know it sounds stupid, but get over it. But he always made it me and the kid's problem. If he lost something, it didn't matter what time of day it was. He was 100% flipping out and expecting me to find it for him. I even told him my oldest son had to go to the ER because he had a bad rash, and he goes, have your mom take him. Because he was using my vehicle. Oh my. Or the other day, my mood has been soured due to his early morning freak out, and it put me on a rough route. I was exhausted, running on 3 hours of sleep, and he rushed me out of the house to go do his errands with him. I didn't even get out of the car, so it was pointless. And then gets pissed and screams, what the fork is your problem? I think I missed one. Sorry. Can't we just have a good day for once, as if I am the reason his life sucks and this is not the man I married. Good, I can change that panel. Sorry, I missed that one. Okay, so last night around 11:30 p.m., he starts freaking out again. He lost an important item he needed for work. He starts slamming things around our bedroom, repeatedly saying things like, forking great, forking awesome, forking love it, until I got up and started helping him look. As soon as I got up out of bed, he stops looking and just walks around behind me holding his phone's flashlight. We can't find it. He doesn't go to work as a result, another trait he's gotten since giving birth. He literally calls out over the wind blowing wrong. That's not good, especially with a newborn. Hi, Patty friend. Good to see you, sweetie. Thank you. Okay, so he practically body slams the bed beside me, starts huffing and puffing, heavy sighing, growling while practically clawing at his face, talking about how forking stupid this life is. I asked him to stop, and he says, fork you. So I tell him I'm done. I'm leaving. And that me and my children and children's stuff, I put that there for SHIT, you know the word. Get over it. I'm a grandmother. I can't help it. He says, what the fork ever, and goes to sleep. I wake up at 5 a.m. or 5 a.m. and start packing. He comes around or out around 7 asking what I'm doing. And I tell him again that I'm done and I'm leaving. He says, I'm leaving him in his time of need. And he would never do that to me, but he kind of did because I was diagnosed with PPD. And that's postpartum depression for those that don't know. Not even 4 days after giving birth, and he completely overrode it and made it about him and how much his life sucks. Example, I know you're feeling some type of way, but I have stuff going on too. No one asked me how the fork I am, or literally making passive aggressive comments like, wish I could sleep all day when I was 6 days postpartum after I fell asleep on the couch. He does no nighttime duty. Anybody else pissed at this guy? As I said, he says I'm leaving him in his time of need and that I should have urged him to get therapy instead of walking away. Really? Wow, okay. But his anger has made me hate him. I don't even want to be near him. I can understand why, honey, honey, honey. Okay, a little edit here. I'm just going to reiterate what I've said to some commenters. I have tried talking to him about this. It's an immediate flame shift. The second that I bring up anything that is bothering me, he says I'm attacking him, says things like as if you don't have forking issues that I have to deal with every day. Oh, Lord. Tells me it's all in my head, and there's some good gaslighting going on. And has even called me a narcissist quite a few times in the past 2 months. Let me just say something real quick. A narcissist, and I know this for personal reasons, I'll just leave that there. Narcissists always accuse somebody else of doing what they're doing, and they gaslight the hell out of you, okay? Claiming that I'm accusing him of things because things aren't going my way. Often says he does everything and that we, me and my kids, don't respect him. So I have tried talking to him. He's completely defensive and refuses to actually speak on issues. Outside of one single time when he was drinking, admitted that he's being an a-hole and that we don't deserve to be treated this way. Okay, well, I guess you need to keep him drunk. No, you don't. I didn't mean that. Wow. I know y'all got some feelings on this mess because, man, sounds like he lost all their money or cheated and knows the hammer is going to fall very soon. He is setting up the narrative, just my opinion, and I agree wholeheartedly there. Amen, sis. Amen. Amen. He did. It sounds to me like his depression is a little bit more underlying than just this, right? Right? Okay, so hold on just one freaking minute, because what are we doing here? This man went from PTA Dad of the Year to Tasmanian Devil in a bathrobe in under 3 weeks. And we're supposed to just pat him on the head and say, "Ah, poor baby." No, 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 no. Not in that house. Not in my house. I do not care if the wind blew wrong. The socks disappeared. The forked up flashlight died, or the universe sneezed in his direction. You do not get to slam stuff, growl like a feral raccoon, body slam a mattress, and then tell the woman who just pushed a human out of her body and got diagnosed with a real problem, PPD, okay, that she is leaving you in your time of need. What the fork did you just say? Excuse me? No. Oh, hell no. When you were 6 days postpartum and exhausted, and he's whining about wishing he could sleep all day while doing 0 night duties, okay? That, oh, that was his time to step up. That was his time to bond with his child. I mean, it's y'all's first. I didn't hear anything about any other children, so I'm assuming this is his only and first child. So why the hell isn't he just fawning all over this child is what I want to know. I'm sorry, if this is not what you wanted, you should not have married this woman. You should have talked about it before. I mean, because apparently, hey, Des, thanks for being here, buddy. Apparently, she climbed up on herself, right? I mean, you had nothing to do with her getting knocked up. Nothing, right? And here you married this woman with 2 children, none of your own, did great for boys, and then when it becomes yours, what the actual fork are you telling me right now? Oh, he needs help. The kids are walking on eggshells because daddy can't find his keys for the 15th time in a week, right? And suddenly it's everybody else's fault. That's not stress. That is unchecked tantrum energy. Do you really want your children seeing that mess? And then when you try to talk about anything, he flips it, calls you narcissistic. Already made my point there. Says it's all in your head. Claims that he does everything. Oh gosh, we are not playing that game. That is blame shifting with a side of gaslight and sprinkle of, why won't you regulate me? Right? Therapy, great. Love therapy. Big fan. You know I am. But you do not get to scream fork you at your wife at midnight and then demand she mother you into scheduling it. What? You are not his life coach, honey. You are not his emotional airbag. And your kids do not need a front row seat to daily rage rehearsals. Freak Out Friday verdict, okay? Give it to me because we got some stinger going on for him. And baby girl, you need to find your honey, okay? Inside yourself, because this is not the thing. Hey, you know what? I'm Texas. We got all these acronyms going on in this. FAFO. I know you know what that means. I know it Des knows what that means. FAFO. Fork around and find out, right? He needs to FO. The actions have consequences, okay? Separation is not betrayal. It's a boundary. And if he truly is spiraling, and he is, he needs professional help, honey. You can't fix him. And don't try to, okay? Not a postpartum wife absorbing the blast radius. Give me a break. What is this man's problem? Now, y'all know I had to grab some comments because, oh my goodness, we have a few good ones. I can promise you that. And I'm getting my media all fixed up here. So I think, look at there. Look at all them bees going on. All right. So the first comment, I should have urged him to get therapy, in quotes. So he knows he needs therapy, but for some reason needs you to tell him to get therapy. He says, no, you're not the a-hole. An adult throwing baby tantrums is not something you need to put up with or something your children should be exposed to. Amen. Seriously, wait a second, because he says you should have urged him to get therapy, right? You're a grown man with a phone, a calendar, and access to Google. If you can articulate that therapy might help you, you can schedule the freaking appointment your damn self. Why are we acting like she's your guidance counselor? This is not middle school. This is adulthood. You have children, responsibilities. You don't get to scream and slam stuff, cuss at your wife, terrify the house, and then say, well, you didn't tell me to get help. That is not accountability. That is outsourcing responsibility. And let's talk about the tantrums. These are not cute little pouty moments. These are daily explosions over lost items, over minor inconveniences, over life not bending to his mood. That is not something your children should normalize. Kids internalize that mess. They learn that grown men get to erupt and everyone else just absorbs it. Absolutely not. If he wants to struggle, fine. We all struggle. But struggle does not mean that you get to emotionally steamroll your household. Therapy? Yes, God, yes, please. Tell him. Let me tell him. Accountability? Yes, he needs to take it, period. Full stop. Staying in a home where your kids are walking on eggshells while he figures it out, that's a freaking no if you ask me. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Here's another comment. Yeah, this one this one that jumped out at me. Overall, it sounds like he does need some sort of mental health help, but he's not willing to talk to the original poster about it. So she needs to prioritize herself and her kids' well-being, not the a-hole. Amen. I agree. Look, that one has honey on it. This one is cleaner and calmer, but we're still here. Yes, he probably needs mental health help. That part is not controversial. Sudden personality shift. There's something going on. Rage spikes, calling out of work, heavy self-talk. Something is off. But needing help and refusing to acknowledge it are two different lanes. If every conversation turns into blame shifting and you're attacking me, then what exactly is she supposed to do? Drag him into therapy by the hoodie? No. At some point, you stop trying to diagnose and start protecting. And protecting your peace and your kids' stability is not abandonment, it's prioritizing. You can care about someone and still say, I will not live inside this behavior. That's the line, period. All right, another comment. This one's a little bit longer. It's a conversation, more or less. All right, I agree. This is an issue that needs professional care, and it isn't your job to provide it for him or arrange it for him. This is a very familiar situation to me, as my ex told me when I asked how I could help him with his bad moods. And he said I couldn't because it was all my fault. Wow. His unhappiness was all me. Worked through in therapy that I wasn't the cause or the solution to his life problems. I hope this separation works well for you and your kids, and that being away from this toxicity helps you rest and recover from childbirth. And then there was a response from someone else. Been there too for years. I begged my husband to get help for acting just like the OP's husband is, but he was sure I was the cause of all his problems. I finally couldn't take it anymore and left. He died when, wow, okay. When we were separated, still thinking I was his only problem, even though he was more miserable with me gone. Okay, and then we had a final response. Whew, okay. Wow, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Sorry. I'm sure it was really difficult. Same with my ex. He just kept drinking more and more and getting more and more miserable. Misery loves company, but I wasn't willing to be misery's companion anymore. Oh, and there's the last one. Pardon me. This is also sad. My dad had a mental breakdown and became an alcoholic when I was little. He was always like this, just stressed and frustrated. He wasn't aggressive and could be sweet sometimes, but it breaks my heart because my mom's always talked about what he was like pre-kids and what a sweet man he was, etc., etc. They're they're still together and their marriage isn't completely as terrible now, but it's definitely far from what I want for myself. It makes me fear when I have children will with my partner if all these so-called wonderful men can just switch like this. Okay, so first off, you know, as women, we can't forget that men have to take on this responsibility too. And sometimes men have a hard time with it, and men have their issues in different ways, right? Because women have postpartum, right? Why don't men? What is it for men? There's got to be something, right? Right, Des? Forgive me. So much change in the weather again. But my point is, when I've had 3 children, and every time I had a child, it got increasingly harder. Okay. And that first child, though, was the hardest. It did get a little easier in some ways, but the difference in personalities is what I meant got harder. Totally different situation. My point is, women go through postpartum depression. Okay, that's not because her body just went through labor. That's because her mind is telling her this is tough. And her reactions to that, well, it puts you in 2 different lanes and you have to decide, and sometimes you can't decide for yourself. So a doctor will call it postpartum depression and help you with that. And that's a good thing if you ask me, But I see where it says things like, my husband did the same thing. Well, you know what? So did mine. Let me tell you something. Here's the thing. Men have feelings too, even though they try to hide them as much as possible. Sometimes this is how they come out. And a man's not going to be all emotional and crybaby and everything like a woman might be if she's emotional and depressed and just breaking down. Men lash out. And that's a sign to me. If anybody around me starts lashing out, changes overnight like that, I'm going to pay attention to that. And yes, even still, while dealing with having 3 children and postpartum depression, that's what a woman does. In my view, of course, that may not be the case for everybody, but you really got to think about this. They're both going through this huge change. And still, while he may have been a dad, they're not his blood. There's a difference there. There's always going to be a difference. Yes, he may have been the best dad for them, but we're also talking about a newborn. We're talking 13 and 9 are her sons. And then she has a little girl who's this teeny tiny baby, which he's probably afraid he's going to break. There's lots of different aspects that could be going on here. And my problem with this whole thing is, yes, the way he is acting is really, really bad. But it's also a cry for help. It really is. To me, that's a cry for help. And as young as they are, and on their first child together, this being his first child, she's already gone through the motions of this once, pardon me, 3 times now. Okay? She could coax him into it a little bit easier. She could see some signs. Yes, I agree that she probably should have said to him, something's going on with you. We need to see somebody. You need to see somebody. I'm obviously having a problem. Maybe you are too. You know, instead of everything inflating into this big mess that you're obviously not going to be able to fix now, right? That's harsh and uncalled for, if you ask me. I'm not calling anyone the a-hole here. I don't like him calling her a narcissist. I don't like the well, the fact is to me, it seems like he's turned into the narcissist. And it's probably because he's jealous, because, you know, now he doesn't have as much time with his wife, you know, and that happens. Men get jealous of things like that because, you know what, women get jealous of things like that too. You know, what if you have 5 children and there's only one, or 6 children, whatever, there's only one boy. If you think there's not going to be some favoritism in that boy with the dad, especially, you know, the child that's carrying your name, you're wrong. There's going to be. Now, they may find a way to balance it. Not all the time, but they try to, you know, and that's great. But there's always this underlying issue there that you've got to think about too. They're both kind of all about themselves, if you ask me. It's just my opinion, and I'm not a professional. I'll tell you that now. But both were wrong in this situation because, I mean, she should have recognized it. And of course, him saying it to her, he'd already recognized it. So why didn't he do something about it? He's not a child. He's jealous of the child instead. That's what it sounds like to me because, I mean, for a while, you know, he's got these self-sufficient boys and he's got his wife, and now this child is taking all that time away. It could have been that. It could have been 50,000 other things, but you know what I'm saying here, okay? Because it could happen. It could happen. And I've seen this stuff happen. I've felt it happen. I've got friends that have had kids. I've got family that has had kids. You can see this in everyday life. My suggestion would be, though, is one of you maybe open your eyes a little wider, and the other one maybe close your mouth a little tighter because the nasty things that you're saying to her are definitely not cool. Okay? And bringing up the fork in every situation is definitely not cool. Try a spoon, buddy. Try a spoon. Hug your wife. You guys need to just love each other and grow up. Okay, so we are halfway through. I'm going to take my little quick break with my little cool song, and I'll be back because I do have another story for you. And yes, this one's a little more freaky. Buzz you in a minute.
She came from the quiet storms, built a fire from the ground, turned a whisper to a warning. Now her voice shakes the town. Every setback was a lesson. Every doubt became a key, unlocking something bigger. That's the rise of Boss B. When the lights go low, her vision hits high. She built a whole damn network off a promise and a try. Every sunrise, every moment, she's stacking legacy. This ain't just a channel, this is BBTV. A boss be rising, BBTV. BBTV's igniting, turn the volume up. Yeah, the whole world's invited, from the gravel roads to the neon dream. She built an empire out of broken wings. Boss be rousing, sky ain't even the ceiling. When she hits go live, everybody feels it. She's the queen of the comeback, the storm in the stream, crafting stories out of heartbeats, making visions out of dreams. Got thunder in the hustle, got a voice that cuts clean. Every mic she touches turns the power unseen. So let Bertha spin the numbers, let the views rise slow or fast. Boss beat doesn't measure wins by echoes of the past. This moment is a pivot, this season's history. Bow down to the founder of the BBTV dynasty. Boss be rising, BBTV's igniting, turn the volume up. Yeah, the whole world's invited, from the gravel roads to the neon dream. She built an empire out of broken wings. Boss be rising, sky ain't even the ceiling. When she hits go live, everybody feels it. She's got fire in the head, it's got truth in the frame, got a heart that won't retire and a gift you can't name. Every loop, every letter, every dream she sets free, it's a love note to the world sign. Boss beat, and the world keeps watching as the numbers climb, but she's counting all the moments, not the dollar signs. From the late night grind to the daylight scene, she's building something bigger than the algorithm's dream. Boss be rising, BBTV shining, her story's rewriting, a legacy in real time. Boss be rising, BBTV's igniting, turn the volume up. Yeah, the whole world's invited, from the gravel roads to the neon dream. She built an empire out of broken wings. Boss be rising, sky ain't even the ceiling. When she hits go live, everybody feels it. BBTV, where the stories breathe. BBTV, where the dreamers believe. Boss be rising, watch her take her place. This is BBTV, this is her grace.
Okay, dokie, we are back. We are back, and the dogs are happy again. You know, that's my dogs I have to deal with. If I don't deal with them, then they deal with me. All righty, so we're going to start with this next little story here. Let me get it up here. All right. Now, here we go. Am I the a-hole for freaking out on the guy I've been seeing regarding his nudism with his cousin? Look, this is going to sound fake AF, and we know that means as fork. by the title, but I didn't really know how else to put it. I'm 22 and in school. I met this guy over an app about 2 months ago, and we have been steady seeing each other since then. We don't have a label on it, but before this, I was hoping it would get there. Now I'm not so sure. He was or has this cousin who is a year or two younger than us, I believe. He said he's been very close with her his whole life. They're both only children, and they talk all the time. Okay. I've been there when she's called him about random things. I met her the first time and thought she was great. I just thought that's great. He's so close with her, his cousin, etc. Didn't think any of it besides that. Totally normal so far. Okay, cool. I got a cousin I call brother cuz. I get it. Yeah, it's just a story, my friend. So, totally normal so far. Um, I actually began talking to her a bit and we became friendly. Last week, I invited her over to hang out with him and I. We had a ton of fun playing games and whatnot. So, Guy and I go off to his room and she plans to sleep on the couch. One thing leads to another, and Guy and I have relations. And yes, I use that word. See, I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be family friendly with words, okay? At least in case somebody happens to come in. I don't need a lecture, thank you. And I wanted to shower after. Please do. We are just chilling naked before I get into the shower when cousin knocks on the door. Okay. I dash to the bathroom to begin my shower. As soon as I close the door, he tells her to come in. She tells him she can't work the Roku TV, and he goes out and shows her. I take my shower and come out. My guy is still naked, meaning it sounded like he didn't cover up when his cousin came in. I jokingly asked him why he was naked still if he went out to help his cousin. Then he tells me something I find deeply disturbing. He just laughs it off and says, "Yeah, we've just always been non phased by that stuff and are completely comfortable." He said that they've bathed together as kids, and it's been something they've done together, not bathed together, but on occasions see each other without clothes. He's seen her and she's seen him time to time. I'm also aware that they openly talk about relations. So since then, my contact with him has dwindled and he has been upset. He called me and tried to set everything straight, and I ended up losing it and telling him that this thing with his cousin is forked up and he's insane to expect people to think that's normal. I called him oh gosh, no. I called him a forking weirdo and he laughed and asked if I'm insecure about his cousin. I told him rent in Alabama is cheaper than it is here and he should move there with her. Oh, goodness. We haven't talked since. Was I a bit too much for my outburst? Oh, well, we're absolutely clocking in for Freak Out Friday on this one. All right, now hold on just a freaking second because what did I just read? You are in this man's room. You just finished adult activities. You're both naked. Cousin knocks on the door, and instead of tossing on shorts like a normal human being, he says, "Come on in," and strolls out there bare ass naked to fix a Roku remote. Sir, okay, time out. Time out. Because this might be normal for some people. Yes, maybe they did bathe as kids. Maybe it's happened. But I'm sorry. I grew up with my cousin and I never once have seen him butt ass naked. And I'm so happy about that. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, right. Wow. Wow. So this is not a campground. This is not a nudist colony. This is your cousin. And then he hits you with, oh, yeah, we've always been comfortable like that. I'm sorry. My cousin and I would not be comfortable like that. And that's not a good thing, really. And I'm sorry. I don't care who you, where, I don't care. I don't care. That's not something you normalize as adults. Maybe as children, sure, fine, got no problem with that, but not as adults, especially after just having relations. I mean, I wouldn't want to walk into a room after somebody's just had relations, and you know this. I mean, come on. They didn't go to the room to play Nintendo, right? Or maybe they did and it was sexy. I don't know. Oh my gosh. So, and they talk about it too, right? About relations. I'm sorry, what in the boundary free family reunion is happening here? When you react like a person with a pulse, he laughs and asks if you're insecure. Insecure about his cousin. No. I'm allergic to red flags, and this is one. Oh my God, this one's doing cartwheels. Now, let me be clear, if I can. Wow. Some families are more relaxed about nudity. Fine, cultural, whatever. I get that. But walking out fully naked to assist your cousin at midnight while your situationship is in the shower, that is wild behavior. I'm sorry. That's a bit much. It's a bit much. And the fact that he acted like you were the crazy one for not thinking, that's adorable. Oh no. No. That's gaslight adjacent. You don't have to accept dynamics, okay, that make your skin crawl. No. You didn't well, I don't want to say that you didn't overreact because you kind of did. You could have been a little, I mean, why weirdo? Come on, why are we calling names? Be an adult about this if you're just having adult relations, okay? Rent in Alabama is cheaper. That's a little spicy. Yeah. Yes. Was it earned? Also, a little bit, yes. You're 22, 2 months in, no label, and already explaining why cousin nudism isn't romantic, babe. That's your cue. This is not about insecurity. This is about compatibility and comfort levels. And if your comfort level says absolutely not, that is valid. Freak out Friday verdict here. You saw something that made you go nope, and you honored it. That's not crazy. That's instincts. But why would you have to call somebody a weirdo? Okay, I still have a problem with the name calling thing. That's so immature. I'm sorry. That's not a reaction. That's a child throwing a tantrum if you're calling somebody a weirdo. I don't care. It's ridiculous. You don't call somebody anything. Don't label. Okay, this is my problem. Don't label, because people label themselves. And those labels that you put on them, they're your labels, not theirs. Okay? Get it straight. Oh, my goodness. So we had some comments. Of course, I pulled some comments because people got things to say. And that's good here. We like things to say. All right. Comment number 1. I called him a forking weirdo. I told him rent in Alabama is cheaper than it is here, and he should move there with her. You're the a-hole. The situation was weird, and you have every right not being comfortable with it. Not the a-hole for that, but you've been rough with words. Thank you. You insulted him. You don't know if they have an incestuous relationship, which is true. You can hope not, but it could be absolutely true that they just don't have issues with nudity. Okay, that's fine, but why do you have to share that with your new friend? Why do you do that as an adult? I don't totally agree here. You don't have to accept it, but you must respect it. And that part is true. Very true. Okay. This one wants nuance, but I am still me. B. All right, yes, this commenter is saying you were not wrong to feel uncomfortable, but you went freaking scorched earth with the words. And listen, they're not completely wrong there. Calling him a weirdo and telling him to move to Alabama with his cousin, that has not, that it wasn't gentle, okay? And it wasn't boundary conversation. That was a flamethrower. However, let's not pretend this was some calm academic debate about cultural nudism. He laughed at you too. He minimized your discomfort. He tried to spin it into you being insecure about his cousin. That's when the claws came out, okay? That's when you turned into a 12-year-old teenager who just got dumped for the school dance. Seriously. Now, could it be true that they're just weirdly comfortable and nothing inappropriate is happening? Sure, possible, of course. But here's the line. You don't have to respect dynamics that make your stomach flip. Respecting someone's lifestyle, it doesn't mean participating in it. You can say, that's your lane, not mine, without diagnosing incest and definitely without calling names. So yes, maybe the delivery was spicy, but discomfort was valid, okay? And 2 months in, I'm not negotiating cousin nudity contracts. I'm exiting. That's me. Sorry. Not sorry. Another comment here. You're the a-hole. They were probably raised as almost siblings. Look, I told you, I called him my brother cuz, all right? He had a sister, right? I mean, they were born exactly 9 months apart. Yes, exactly. But let me tell you something. They weren't as close as he and I were. That's my brother cuz. He took care of me, and later on in life, I've had a chance to take care of him. You know, that's the way it is. But we were not naked in front of it. No. And putting two kids in a bath together is a great way to save water time and make sure they're in there long enough to get clean. You say they talk about relations. That's a pretty average topic around people of their ages. Also, some people just like being naked. So, look, my sister loves walking around the house naked. It doesn't make me want to, but you also get used to it pretty quickly. You basically forget they're naked and it's not a big deal. I think you rush to judgment quickly. I ended up losing it and telling him that this thing with his cousin is forked up and he's insane to expect people to think that's normal. Just because it's not your normal doesn't mean it's normal to a lot of people. And it does kind of sound like you see his cousins as competition. Oh, competition. No, that's not what it sounds like to me. It just sounds like somebody that's a little confused why he's walking around as an adult, but ass naked in front of his cousin, because I would be too. All right. This one is coming in with the sociology lecture, and I love it. All right, yes. Kids bathing together when they're little. Normal. Cousins raised like siblings. Normal. Talking about relationships at 22. Also probably pretty normal. Walking around your own house naked? Sure, if that's your family vibe. Nobody is arguing that nudity automatically equals incest or even relations, okay? Let's not jump cliffs, but there is a difference between we grew up comfortable and I am currently in a new romantic situation and I casually stroll out fully naked to assist my adult cousin at midnight like this is a sitcom. Context matters. Timing matters. Respect for your partner's comfort matters. And here's the big one. If something is normal to a lot of people, it still does not have to be normal to you. You're allowed to have a different comfort threshold. That's not jealousy. That is preference. Now, did she escalate quickly? Yes, absolutely. 2 months in, and she went from confused to Alabama in 60 seconds. But let's not gaslight her into thinking she imagined the awkwardness. You don't have to see someone as competition to say, this dynamic is not for me. Normal is relative. Compatibility is personal. And if Naked Cousin Roku Repair is his brand, he can find someone who doesn't blink. She just learned she's not that girl. I mean, I would think that would be good enough, right? So, all right. Next one. You're the a-hole. While I agree that the situation would make me uncomfortable, you basically implied he's forking his cousin. Mm-hmm. Here's another one. You're the a-hole. How is this any of your business? He didn't ask you to participate, and he didn't subject you to any nudity you didn't sign up for. If this is a deal breaker for you, that's your right. But the way you treated him in the process clearly makes you the a-hole. Yeah, they are grouping up on us now. All right, let's go. Comment 3 is basically saying, look, you didn't just say this makes me uncomfortable. You implied he's sleeping with his cousin. And yeah, when you drop Alabama in the middle of an argument, that's implication is pretty loud. That's not subtle. Okay, it's not subtle. That's not nuance. That's a canon. So from the outside, it absolutely sounds like you jumped from this is weird to you're incestuous. Absolutely. But that's where the you're the a-hole energy is coming from, I think. Now, comment number 4 is leaning into the autonomy angle. I think he didn't force you to be naked. He didn't drag you into anything. He didn't ask you to participate. So technically, yes, you could have just quietly decided this isn't your circus and exited without the fireworks. That's the mature lane. But here's the other side. When you're dating someone and they casually reveal a dynamic that shakes your comfort level, it is your business because you're evaluating compatibility. You're not auditing his family tree for sport. You're deciding whether you want to attach yourself to this. So yes, delivery spicy, accusatory, absolutely. But the boundary itself valid. You don't owe him applause for a cousin dynamic that makes you blink twice. You could have walked out cooler. Instead, you walked out loud. That doesn't make you evil. It just makes you 22. Sorry. Not sorry. But here's the next comment. Hard, you're the a-hole here. Being upset is one thing, though, at least attempting to be understanding or have an adult conversation about your insecurities, because that's what this is. I agree with this one. Yeah. Is what you should have done. But name calling and low key accusing him of incest, totally messed up. This is potentially a good reason for him to break up with you. You seriously messed up and owe him an apology. Okay, I agree. She owes him an apology. I think she could have approached this differently. I mean, come on. Come on. That's the way it is. So I just think that this is not, I don't know. It's kind of crazy to me. This is like, you don't know which way that is going to tilt I can't think of the word. I don't know. The scales. Okay. You got one hand where, okay, there's people out there saying, including me, that this is not exactly, I don't know, something that people like to normalize, right? But then on the other hand, you're saying, look, you really maybe didn't like it, but you made it something it wasn't, right? Sorry, not sorry, right? Yeah. Yeah. This one for me, it came in with the gavel Hard, you're the a-hole. All right, let's unpack that first. Okay, first, without losing the freaking spice. They're saying this isn't about cousin nudity, it's about your insecurity. And instead of having an adult conversation, you went straight to name calling and incest adjacent jokes. And listen, from the outside, it doesn't look like escalation. You didn't say, hey, this makes me uncomfortable. Can we talk about boundaries? You said your forking weirdo moved to Alabama. Yeah. That is not conflict resolution. That is verbal fireworks. So, yes, if he decides that level of accusation is a deal breaker for him, that's his right to. I totally agree. Now, here's where I'm pushing back just a little. Discomfort is not automatically insecurity. Sometimes it's just incompatibility. You don't have to do therapy sessions to justify that something gives you the ick, right? But if you choose to explode instead of articulate, you do risk burning the bridge in a way that isn't clean. So, do you owe him an apology for the delivery? Probably. Do you owe him acceptance of cousin nudism? Absolutely not. If you're not comfortable, no, you don't have to deal with that. And you can tell him that, and he can decide if he wants to allow that to happen again. But you need to at least give him the understanding that you're not comfortable. Two things can be true here. You can stand by your boundary and still admit the execution was freaking nuclear, right? Oh my goodness. I mean, why do we have to call each other names to make points? Because the point's not been made. It's just been moved to a whole different plane. All right, y'all. What a freaking ride today. It's Freak Out Friday. We covered meltdowns, emotional spirals, naked cousin Roku repairs, postpartum pressure, boundaries, getting blown to stuff, and the fine art of freaking out with or without justification. And if there's one thing I want you to walk away with today, is this. Your discomfort matters. Your kids' stability matters. Your peace, it matters. But so does how you handle it. You can be right about a boundary and still learn something about delivery. You can have empathy for someone struggling and still say, I will not live inside this. That's grown in energy. Pardon me. That's not cruelty. It's clarity. So, Freak Out Friday isn't about glorifying chaos. It's about examining it. Why did you snap? What pushed you there? What is a one-time explosion or a pattern that finally boiled over? And most importantly, what are you teaching the people around you and about what's acceptable? Because your kids are watching, your partner is watching, and honestly, you're watching yourself too. Growth isn't about never losing it. It's about recognizing when you did and deciding what changes next. Now, if this conversation hit home, if you've ever walked on eggshells, if you've ever gotten the ick so hard you needed a map out of the relationship, or if you've ever had to choose peace over potential, I want you in tour chat. That's where we keep this energy going. We unpack more, we laugh harder, get real. You know what? It's fun to be in that chat. And if you haven't checked out my promos at the end of this show, I'm going to invite you to do that now. We got content building, brand building, and some freaking fun brewing over there too. Make sure you hit that like button, okay? Make sure you're subscribed. Don't miss it. Hit that bell. And if you're watching the replay, drop your honey or your stinger in the comments. Let me know. I want to know what you think. I read them all, okay? I see you. And y'all know I will pull your takes into the next episode if you hit me hard enough. All right, y'all. Breathe in, breathe out, hold your boundaries, protect your peace. And until next time, I'm going to buzz y'all later. Ha ha ha. I love that new catchy phrase. Buzz you later.
I want to take a minute to shout out Tuber Chat. If you're a creator who's tired of surface level advice, says, and actually wants to understand how YouTube works, that's the space. It's real conversations with real creators who are in the trenches, building channels, testing ideas. No posturing, no gatekeeping, no fake guru energy, just people sharing what's working, what isn't, and why.
If you're serious about growing, learning, and not doing this alone, check out Tuber Chat. The link is in the description. If you're enjoying this show, subscribing is the easiest way to support what's being built here on BBTV. You'll see the join button right next to subscribe. No pressure, no expectations, just an option for people who want to support the channel in a real way.
We're live every day at 3 p.m. Central now.
And don't worry, we didn't change the heat, just the clock. And if you've got a story you want to share, send it in. Anonymous is always fine.
Boss be right.